Today, I broke my trading rules and made over $9,100 per funded account. I am not happy with myself whatsoever that I broke my rules, even though that I made money, because I know it's going to build bad habits over time. Even though that I followed my rules on the second trade, which also would have played out for about 20 RR, I ended up going low risk on this trade and just targeting internal highs just to punish myself, because I totally broke my rules with pure discretionary trading on my first trade. Alright, enough bashing myself, let me show you the trade recap. So the first thing I come to notice coming into today is that we are still playing around all-time highs, which means my primary objective is to take longs. So the first thing I did was come over to the 1 hour and draw out the OTE of this high time frame leg. I then noticed that this leg right here was never fully rebalanced, so what I did was I drew out OTE of this full leg right here. From here you could already see that 705 of this recent leg aligns with 0.5 of the higher time frame leg. So the last thing I'm going to do is go to a lower time frame like the 5 minute and find a standard deviation level to see if it aligns. So I ended up drawing out the very last manipulation leg as my standard deviation level, and as you can see, -3 aligns with 0.5 and OTE of these legs. So my primary objective is to take longs somewhere within these levels right here. But if you zoom in here on the 5 minute, you can see that we're in the middle of completing the AMD cycle from this manipulation leg right here. Let me draw it out to show you. So as you can see right here, price reacted perfectly off of this -3 level. And it even gave a perfect 5 minute rejection block entry right here. Not to mention that we also tagged -1 of this manipulation leg right here. So my thought process is that if we're going to go back to all-time highs, this would have been the bottom tick and we should send straight up. And since I'm really looking to take longs way down here, I expect that if we break through this rejection block that we'll continue straight down. And this, my friends, is exactly where I broke my rules and I ended up taking shorts. So if you play through the candles really quick, you can see that we start continuing back down a bit. Now in this point, we are not yet within the session that I usually trade, so even taking a long here, I would have been breaking my rules. I ended up placing a short stop limit right here at the bottom of the 5 minute rejection block, because as I said, if this fails, we are sending it straight to the floor. And as you know, my target is going to be somewhere down here at this 705 level. Once again, this was a complete break of my rules and I should not have taken this. I'm still punishing myself for it to this moment. But if I do play through the chart, you can see the second we break through, there is full momentum straight down to the floor and we never return back to that level. In fact, I bottom ticked my full take profit right here, and this right here is where I took a valid long using an A+ setup from my actual trading model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this position, or actually I'll just move it to the side right here and show you the correct long that I should have taken alone. I'm also going to delete the rest of this off of my chart really quick just so you can see. And right here I could draw out the 0.5 level, which we ended up tagging. Right here on the 5 minute, we ended up making a perfect 5 minute rejection block as we tag all the levels that I wanted rejection from. So what I did was I dropped here onto the 1 minute and I waited for a down close candle so I could draw my fib. So as you can see, we had these down close candles, so what I did was I drew my fib out and I was waiting to see if we tap one of these levels. Since this 5 minute rejection block is right below 0.79 OTE, what I did was I set my limit right there. I always put my limits just barely above the CE or below the CE, depending on if it's a bearish or bullish rejection block, just in case it edges the level. So what I did was put my limit right here and waited to be tapped in so I could set a 10-point stop loss. We ended up making this higher high right here, so I'm going to adjust my fib once again, but my entry is going to stay the same since it's pretty much relatively the same. So right here on this candle, we got tapped in, so I'm going to put my stop loss here at 10 points. This second trade was taken with only 5 micros, so it was only like $100 risk. Truly just because I was punishing myself for this short that I took up here when I broke my rules. I did not want to get cocky and over risk just because I had profit in my account for today. And since I'm still punishing myself, All I did was put my take profit right at this internal high. I did not make $3,500 on this trade. In fact, I have a video of when I took this trade. I'll throw it up on the screen. It was only an $800 take profit, but as you can see, we boosted straight up into it and we actually continued even higher. I'll put the position tool right here so I can measure to see how high it actually went. I'm pretty sure it went to this -1 level. If I wasn't punishing myself, what I would have done was I drew the OTE of this level right here along with that standard deviation, and yeah, I would have expected price to either hit 0.5 or the -1 level, but I'm pretty sure it went to -1. Let me just put that there and play it forward. As you can see, price perfectly reached the level of -1 along with the 0.5 OTE of this leg over here, giving another 20 RR trade. And that right there shows the trade recap of how I broke my rules and still somehow made $9,100 per account. I am still extremely disappointed in myself that I ended up taking this short over here, but I am going to show not only the wins but also the losses that I take in this journey. Now, although a lot of people would be happy that they made $9,000 on a trade that didn't follow their rules, but truthfully, it's only going to build bad habits. I would be happier with myself if I took a loss on a trade that fully followed my rules rather than a win on a trade that doesn't follow my rules at all. That was a discretionary trade. You gain discretion over time. I've been trading the NASDAQ for almost 3 years now, and over time, you do get really good at predicting where the market's going to go, so honestly, the more you trade, you're going to have more of that feeling of like, hey, I want to enter here, even though it doesn't follow my rules. And that part really does get harder and harder over time, because over time, you'll say things like, oh, I think the market is going to dump here, and then it'll actually happen. Or you'll be like, oh, I think I should go long here, even though it doesn't follow my rules, and then it would have hit your take profit. But since you didn't take that trade, you get pissed off at yourself, even though it wouldn't have been following your rules, etc., etc. It just builds bad habits, and over time, you'll end up taking that trade that doesn't follow your rules, and it'll end up being a winner. It's going to bring bad habits to your trading, and your trading's just going to go downhill from there. So I really do advise, just follow your rules. If you want to succeed in trading, you need to find a model, and you need to master your psychology. Honestly, if you're learning a model from a profitable trader, then that's going to be the easy part. The hardest part about trading is mastering your psychology. So please don't get cocky, don't break your rules, and don't hinder your journey in trading. I hope this recap helped you guys and taught you not to break your rules, even though that I won that trade. If you want to see more videos like that, make sure to stay tuned, and hey, maybe even hit the subscribe button.